A silent revolution is unfolding in the skies. At 30,000 feet, at 300 miles per hour, two giant metal birds engage in a perfect dance. This is the invisible link between the KC-135 Stratotanker and the fighter jets it powers. An A-10 Thunderbolt precisely docked with the refueling pipe. Within minutes, it received enough fuel to sustain its combat mission for hours. These operations are not just exercises. They are tested in the rigors of real warfare in exercises like Red Flag. Every connection is a testament to America's global power projection. So what do we know about the strategy and technology behind this incredible operation? Here's a general's perspective.
Yeah, so I'm John T. Thomas, and Lieutenant General, and I am the Deputy Commander of the Air Mobility Command at Scott Air Force Base.
How are you enjoying your time out at Altus so far?
Yeah, it's great to be back at Altus. You know, good memories from being here as a commander for 2 years. But equally as important, good sense of the mission here at the 97th Air Mobility Wing. The training mission, and also the fact that the spirit of innovation that we're celebrating today is alive and well and flourishing.
Yes, sir. Why do you think that it's important that we encourage that type of behavior and encourage our airmen to think creatively?
It is one of our asymmetric advantages in the sense that we have a culture inside our Air Force, and more broadly the United States military, where we allow our people to think. We allow them to recognize that there are problems and challenges and that they can come up with solutions. And you have got to have that. In a world where we have got to defend the nation no matter what the challenges are, and they're varied around the entire world, airmen understanding that they can affect change and then see the results of it, like today with the fielding of this boom operator instructor platform and couch, encourages them to do even more. And so it's really important to have events like this, but most importantly, it's really important to reinforce that culture that our Air Force started with all the way back in the 1920s.
Definitely. So along with this winter, this Spark Tank winter, how do you foresee this device impacting the future of rapid global mobility?
Well, it starts here at the schoolhouse, so it will allow the instructors to instruct better. It will allow them to be more aware of what the student is doing, but more broadly across the entire Mobility Air Force, it's what Sergeant Bachleda mentioned, is that designing an instructor platform and a pad such that it's going to reduce the amount of strain and injuries on our boom operators, that's more airmen in the fight. That's more airmen available to do their mission. That's airmen that have a better quality of life, both in the Air Force and then afterwards. They don't have strains or injuries that they might incur otherwise.
All right, and why do you think it's important to invest in our instructor force?
Because they're the ones that are teaching our seed corn, so to speak. They're teaching young airmen like you and all the others that come through here at the Air Mobility Training Center of Excellence. And so they have got to be at the top of their game every single day. Whether you're a pilot, a boom operator instructor, a loadmaster instructor here, you've got to be ready to go. And innovations like this help our instructors to be better every day.
Sir, well, I think that's all that I have for you. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
What I'd like to add is that to all of the mobility airmen and really all the airmen of the Air Education and Training Command, thank you. Thank you for the dedicated effort that you put in every day to form the basis of our Air Force and then to sharpen that as they go through the graduate flying training, for example here for the C-17, KC-135, and KC-46. People don't always remember how important the role is that you play. I want you to know that we at Air Mobility Command do, and we're thankful for the efforts that you put in every day.
We've seen the strategic vision. Now let's delve into the world of the operators who use this technology every day to execute the mission.
When we're in the air, we have a meeting point with an aircraft that needs fuel. So again, our purpose is to make sure we keep these aircrafts in the air, because without us, they're gonna have to land fuel on the ground, which takes a lot longer, and take back off. Again, because we're able to keep these jets in the air, they're able to accomplish their mission. So I have that self of accomplishment, knowing that I'm able to keep the mission alive and allowing these guys to go out there and complete their mission.
Here's the true story of the KC-135, as seen through the eyes of a staff sergeant.
So, being here, did you ever think your idea would come this far?
I had no idea that that day we'd arrive here almost 7 years later to a hangar full of DVs to finally get this idea on the airplane. So no, I was not ready for that. Couldn't have imagined it.
And so, what was it like being a boom operator instructor?
It was a very fulfilling job. We got to train several students throughout the entire time we were here at Altus. It was very fulfilling for a reason of getting a brand new student, possibly has never flown on an airplane from whatever region of the country, and then teaching them, having their situational awareness catch up to where they're supposed to be, then watching them excel, eventually get their check ride, leave here and go out into the world, travel the globe. That was very rewarding.
But it is. What did that kind of help spark the idea for the new boom cushion, or what was the story behind it?
So the story behind it is I was the essentially how do I say this? So it initiated with the question of what are you doing about it? And then I came to realize that we had a serious issue that needed to be resolved. And as a scheduler, I also realized that I'm seeing this throughout the squadron when certain individuals could not fly and somebody else has to take over for them because they have neck and back issues. So I started adding up the numbers and asking with the permission of the individuals that had back and neck surgeries and compiled the medical data that I could from the individuals that gave me permission. And then realized that this is a big problem. And when the Surgeon General of the Air Force provided me that final number of $132 million per year in medical costs for active duty, reserve, veterans, and retired boom operators for a single career field in fiscal year 14, it just blew my mind that why has not somebody looked at this before? And the reason was it's a very tiny career field. There's roughly 800 of us. If this was a security forces career field, and every squadron had $3-4 million worth of injury, medical costs, everybody would raise an eyebrow and try to figure out how to solve that problem. But since it's a tiny career field, it was kind of hidden. But now it's brought up to light. It's explained to the Air Force at the senior leadership level in the Air Force, and that's why we have a brand new cushion on this airplane as of today.
All right. And how do you foresee that this boom cushion will improve the way we train our mobility aviators?
So essentially in the old way, what we used to do is, as the instructors, after months or sometimes years of being in that uncomfortable position, we develop injuries, right? So that I can no longer fly, and then you would come in and take over for me. Because of our very high ops tempo and combat environment being deployed, we're essentially eating through our career field, eating through the booms at a blistering rate, so that the people are developing these issues younger and younger. With this, we're trying to reduce those issues where somebody could have a better quality of life, and once they retire or choose to get out of the Air Force after honorably serving, they have a life afterwards. So this will have a big impact in the improvement of quality of life for a career field.
All right. How, if at all, has the boom cushion, the design of it, how has it changed since you released it? Do you predict any further changes?
So from the original, it changed in several ways. So we've been using a 2D solution on a 3D problem since 1956. So once we incorporated a 3D cushion into that weird hole, level out the floor, created a hip pillow, and then the chin rest area, we've pretty much replicated, ergonomically designed cushion system for the instructor boom operators. Further changes to it could be that on the left side we would replicate that position to be more comfortable for future references. But as of right now, I don't see any changes coming for this.
Okay, awesome. How do you think this process has impacted you as an airman?
Immensely. I've got to see up front how the process works, of how the Air Force thinks about innovation, how they process innovation, how they think and process modifications for an aircraft, essentially on this project. So it's been an eye-opening experience. I've been to labs, offices, buildings that I would have never otherwise been in, and learned from those individuals, those PhD level to senior officer level individuals, how they think and how they process information and how they will help innovation move in this century throughout the Air Force. So it has been an immense experience, something that you cannot read in the book, you just have to go through it, and it took years. I wish every single airman would go through that experience, because then they can come back to their job and look at everything around them through a different set of eyes. Because every single one of us has a valid idea or project they can work on. We are the solutions to the Air Force problems. We're walking around in it every day.
So speaking of that, what does innovation mean to you?
Change. Essentially change. Adapting to new environments. Like I mentioned in my speech, in 1903, two individuals decided they're going to make an airplane and go fly. And that started the aerospace industry. Then in 1923, a couple of officers said, hey, you know what? Let's go air refuel. And so they did it. In 1947, we broke the sound barrier. We even had an airman jump from space just to prove he could do it, just so that he could certify the suits so the astronauts could go to the moon. He did that back in 1960. Innovation means change. Innovation means thinking outside of the box and not being afraid to challenge yourself and dream.
Awesome. What message do you have for airmen looking to bring about change to their work centers?
Wow. I can talk about this all day. You stumped me, good job. What can I tell them? Get involved early on. Usually when we come in the military, we have to learn how to upgrade from 1 level to a 3 level, then do CDCs for a 5 level, take care of our core tasks and our 623s, and it's years before any supervision actually comes down to us and asks us to help solve problems. What I think should be done is supervision should be pulling the young airmen, officer enlisted, straight into leadership position think tanks or meetings that they're trying to solve problems, and help them understand what the problems are. They are more than just your AFSC or your current job, the building you work in, how commanders think and how they solve problems. Because once you return back to your job, again, you're going to look at the Air Force a little bit different than you did before. Because if you don't have that opportunity, if we don't push our youngest airmen up front to the front line and not force them, but ask them to help, get them involved, it's going to be years before they get there. So all those valuable years of potentially doing things smarter and faster have gone away. So in this instance, this project took 7 years. So essentially in a 20-year career, somebody could push 3 projects and that's it. But what if we started earlier? What if we forced our airmen to think outside of the box, get outside of their comfort zone, because nothing goes there, so they can start thinking critically early, so that in their career field, by the time they are 20 years from this point, our Air Force will be that much smarter.
As 2 experts say, it's much more than just refueling. It's an invisible lifeline that extends a nation's airborne presence, gives fighter jets their ticket home, and forms the foundation of modern air power. The next time you see a fighter jet in the sky, remember this invisible thread that keeps it there. It's the story of the boom operators, the crew, and the KC-135 Stratotanker. The story of the silent giants who carry America's power into the sky.